Farming Simulator 22, and today we're going to have a crack at combining Autodrive and Courseplay into a big silage harvest. So over there we have a field full of maize which is ready to chop, a couple of crone forage harvesters, and then a Deutz 8 series on one of the Croneby trailers, and a class over there on another big crone trailer, and we have a bunker here that we're going to fill with chaff, hopefully. This is on Yukon Valley. This is just a save that I'm playing for a bit of fun, and I had a big silage harvest to do, and I thought it would make a cool kind of tutorial video. So first things first, we need to create a course to run the tractors on, which actually means I need to move these two forage harvesters out of the way. So we'll get that done, and then we'll get a course set up for the tractors. I'm going to run one trailer for each forage harvester, just because that probably seems like the best idea. May not be the quickest in the world, but it will give you an idea how to set things up, and that's what this is about. So I haven't done a huge amount of forage harvesting using Autodrive and Courseplay, so hopefully this will all work. I'm going to try and set the course up so that we use one course to run both forage harvesters, using a tip from one of my viewers about messing around with the implement width and offsets. But first, Autodrive. So we are going to switch on edit mode and hit record. We're going to be in forwards rather than reverse. I'm doing that a lot lately, and then let's just set one waypoint down, and we'll call this harvester 1. And then we'll get another one, and we'll call that harvester 2. So I'm doing 2 waypoints so that I can then set each tractor and each harvester, or each pair of tractor and harvester, onto its own waypoint at the start of the course. And then my very badly designed yard, I think I can only get Autodrive to work on this very end bunker, so hopefully we can get that. Then you're going to pull all the way forwards so the trailer's straight, and then hit reverse and try and go back as straight as possible. I've not done a big silage harvest in 22 yet, so hopefully this all works. And then we will stop there. I'll come back and drop the waypoint in a second, and we'll just drive straight back out and loop round and link this up. So I'm doing this as a completely separate course to the small Autodrive network I already have on the map. It doesn't need to be linked in, so we can then hit stop recording. So to join those 2 points, sorry, join the endpoint, just click on it and then click on the one you want to join it to. And if you want to remove them, it's the reverse. So click, click, and remember it's directional. So if you do, if you click on that one and then that one, the line is going the wrong way. You can see from the arrow. So just get that back. We'll leave edit mode open, drop the trailer off the back just because it'll be easier. We'll go in and drop the waypoint for the bunker, and then we'll set up Courseplay, and then I'll probably just time lapse this all with some commentary because it's going to take a while. So if we park so that the red line is pointing at the waypoint we want, click on the waypoint button, and we'll call this bunker. And then we can turn edit mode off, and we'll get Courseplay set up next. So I've already cleared a bit of the field off. I think I might have said that just to make some room to get started. So if you're not already, while I run over here, and you think this might be an interesting video, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. I do a mix of tutorials like this and let's plays, and yeah, be really good if you would subscribe. So let's get Courseplay set up. So escape to bring up the menu, and then we go into the helper menu. Zoom all the way in. This is a big map, and then we want to create job, Courseplay fieldwork. We've got the marker over roughly the right place. We're on the first waypoint, so open course. We want to increase the working width to double, so 18 meters. There will be lots of clicking because I don't think you can do it now. Unfortunately, there will be lots of clicking. What this does is, instead of how I did the 2 combines course where I had to be manually intervening, this should make it all automated. We want field center up, down, smooth. 2 headlands is fine. Start working on a headland. Yep, generate field course. And there we go. So we can close that. And then we want to save it. So I've got a folder called forage. I'm just going to hit X to save the course. And I'm going to call that video course. Spelt wrong. Right. And then what I'm going to do is we'll bring up Autodrive and select Harvester 1. And then we need to bring up the quick menu, the Control-Shift-H menu, and we need to knock working width down back to 9 meters. I'm not sure if this step is essential or not, but it's what I did. And then you can see how the tool offset is already at -4.5, so that's obviously half of the working width of the implement. And I've gone too far. And what that should do is sit us quite nicely along this line here. So if we hit hire worker, this guy should get going. It will sort itself out with offsets and things in a second. Back, that's set. We need to change this guy to combine, unload, and then harvester 1 and bunker, and hit go. Hopefully he will get, so there we go. And this is where good old Courseplay and Autodrive do some stupid things. And this is why sometimes you record videos and then put the commentary on. Particularly as I have crop destruction on here. I need this silage to feed the cows that I'm going to be having on here. So I also have a BGA on here because I've not played with BGA at all. So I wanted to have a BGA on here because I thought it would be useful. So let's get you doing whatever you're going to do first. I have a feeling it's going to drive itself to the bunker and back, which is fine. We can check that the course is going to work for the bunker. What we will do is move the doits out of the way by crashing it into the other chrome. Yeah, by crashing it into the other chrome. So actually it's got some chaff in it from earlier, so we should see it dump as well. So I had to go for the big Axia 930 because Ollie Bloggs has had one on his farm recently and I love his videos, so yeah. I think we might take a quick screenshot of that backing in, and then it's not going to unload it, which is interesting. I guess there's not enough in there yet for it to think about unloading. So if we jump in here and get this guy going again, he should get into a position to be ready to wait for the class to come over and cart for it. So what we will do is jump into the settings and don't repair. And where are you? Anyway, couldn't see the setting that I thought I wanted, but that pair are off. So, second forage harvester. So let's get Autodrive open and select Harvester 2. Let's load the course up. Let's open up the Courseplay GUI. And then we want to do plus 4.5 on this one. And hit hire worker. And then if we back out of there, jump in the Deutz, that is going to be Harvester 2 and Bunker. And let's give it a fair chance of going straight into harvesting by putting it on that bit of the course. And hit go. And once this one's going as well, we'll have a quick look in the settings for things like Convoy Mode. The last time I tried Convoy Mode it didn't work, but we will put it on just in case. Good job, Autodrive. Good job. It gets better once you open the field up, as I said in my introduction video for Autodrive. The other harvester seems to have stalled. So I'm guessing either because the needs to tip, or is it trying to deal with the fact that there's a little bit of crop in the corner? It's entirely possible. It's struggling with the fact that there's a little bit of crop in the corner. Where the heck are you going? So we're going to leave that one. We're going to jump in here. And we're going to try and put Convoy Mode on that one, and they're off again. And if we put Convoy Mode on here, click a save just in case it needs to be saved for it to take effect. It just does take a while because it's a 16x map, and yeah. And then I think we'll jump into the time lapse because it's taken me a quarter of an hour to get this guy going, which is longer than I expected. But so if we jump in the Accident Terror track, we are almost full. So you will see him go off to the bunker now. Nice job driving through the crop there. Assume I have avoid crop as on. Yes. Yes. Avoid through. Yes. Good job. So that looks like maybe Convoy Mode is now working, because that one has paused. Depends if it's waiting for the Deutz to come over. I'm just keeping an eye on the class. We are going to wait for the class to tip before I jump into Timelapse. Yeah, so this guy is still going, so we're going to pause this guy just while we get everything up and working. Just because the trailer on the class filled up quicker because I'd used it to do the prep work. So let's see if we manage to tip in the bunker. And then this is basically going to be just a big process of rinse and repeat. Keeping an eye on things, making sure they don't crash into each other. and I'll do all of that in a time lapse because it's going to take a while to harvest this big field. So if we put edit mode on, we'll be able to see the waypoints. Hopefully it will back in and tip. What we might need to be doing as well is managing the bunker in a bit, and I've got some other tractors that I can use to do that, so we might grab ourselves a wheel loader and a silage fork. Because obviously we're probably going to want to push that right up to the back of the bunker. So the other thing I should maybe have done is separated the course out a little bit more, but we will see how that goes. But there we go, we have tipped into the bunker. It seems to be waiting for the trailer to completely return before it's going to drive off. But there we go, that's heading back into the field. We'll, I think at this point, that's only at 66%. Now what we could do is hit the double arrow here, which will send this guy off to unload and get us some space between the two, hopefully. Yes, it's driving straight through the middle of the cornfield, which is kind of annoying, but and we've got the double reverse thing. Sometimes this happens. Now hopefully we are off on our way to rejoin the forage harvester. We'll just make sure these two don't crash into each other, because that would be annoying. And then we'll put some music on and let this lot work in some sort of magical automated ballet. That was cool. The Deutz did yield to the other tractor. So it was clearly struggling with not driving in the crop. But not to worry. See how this guy does tipping. Hopefully once this guy's tipped, the other harvester will be back on its way. And yeah, you can see we're quite quickly going to get a fairly big pile of chaff to deal with. So it looks like I need to get myself a wheel loader and a big silage fork. And you can see in the background the Axion is just pulling up next to the first forage harvester, and they are off and underway. Well, you can see the wheels of the forage harvester. And that's the Deutz unloading. Yeah. I guess that's where I've restricted the unloader to the field. Right, it's going to work, so let's back this guy up a bit. And then Control Shift H to bring up the GUI. Nearest waypoint, hire worker. Back, and then this guy should wait for the Deutz to come back over, and that'll give us a nice bit of separation between the two, so that hopefully things will be okay in terms of filling up. There we go. The class is easing off on riding the backside of the forage harvester. I'm actually going to change the settings again in Autodrive to no and no. Hopefully that will sort out that pretty horrendous behaviour there. Yeah, there we go. So what I'm hoping is that this will put enough space between the two forage harvesters so that we can not have any issues anymore. I can just leave them to it. Right, music and time lapse, because I've been waffling on for 20 minutes. This is slightly longer than all of my other recent tutorials, but if at this point you've had enough, we've covered most of it. There are some funnies that come up once we get stuck into the body of the field. And if you want to see how I dealt with those, then stick around, because yeah, because it's not working on proper multiple tools mode, then we have some interesting behavior that comes up. I think it's actually really cool once it gets stuck into the field, so definitely stick around for that. I also have a crack at trying to deal with the fact that Autodrive wants to keep driving through the crop like this to get back to the course. What we're going to see here is actually the Autodrive implementation is really nice already. So because the Deutz can't get into the bunker, it is waiting, and it's waiting far enough away that there's plenty of room for the Terror track to unload, finish its maneuver and get out of the way. And that's really nice. It was something that I was kind of nervous about, was that we would get into the situation where they would be stacking up on top of each other. What I'm trying to do here is to avoid that double reverse. If you link some of the reverse points to some of the other bits out of the bunker, sometimes that can help address that. It doesn't take until you stop and restart the course. This is me running a two-way loop around the outside of the field to try and give Autodrive a course to jump onto to avoid driving through the crop as it's doing the headland. This can help. If you're not bothered about Autodrive driving through the crop, then I wouldn't worry. I'm just doing it as something to show people as a way of dealing with it. And we've now got ourselves a class wheel loader to try and deal with some of this mountain of silage. Until we get Courseplay doing leveling and pushing in bunkers, this is probably how you're going to have to deal with a big silage harvest, I suspect. Although I do like how a way you might do it later. I actually end up switching to a leveler, because doing it with the silage fork takes quite a while, because it doesn't hold very much. It's about 8,000 litres. So I get the 5 metre leveler and stick it on the back of a 9RX that I have on here, which does a really good job of pushing up. I think we're just coming up around on the last headland here, and I wasn't really sure how much footage to show, so I recorded quite a lot. So this is the biggest leveler on the back of a 9RX, and it does a brilliant job of helping us manage the silage pit. And ideally, that's what you would use in a Courseplay once we get that functionality into Courseplay. So headlands are done, and we're now getting into the body of the field, and this is where things get interesting, because it's not got multiple tools on, and this one is actually cutting into a row that's got crop next to it, so Autodrive is struggling. So what I decided to do to help manage that is to pause this one, send this guy off to dump, and we're going to stick harvester number 2 down, because that will be running along the outside, and hopefully that will make things easier. I'm just helping out in the axiom to get things going. The complication with this is obviously every time you get to an end of a row, this swaps. So rather than having to manage this each time, I just let it go and see what happens. And actually it works really well in the end. We get some nice interesting effects. Autodrive works out that it can tuck in behind the forage harvester, so they crack on, and yeah, really cool. Really impressed with the interaction between Autodrive and Courseplay. This happens a couple times, but it sorts itself out again. And I think now we get to see the first really cool, no, it's coming up in a minute, the first really cool interaction between all the different vehicles. And it gives me an idea for something that would be even cooler to try. And I might make a video on it. We'll get there in a second. While we're waiting for stuff to happen, if you're enjoying the content and you want to help me out on the channel, you could buy me a coffee. There's a link below. That's really appreciated. Totally optional. I don't push it very often, but you know, if you like what I'm doing and you want to show me some appreciation, buy me a coffee. This is where things get cool in my mind, I think. It actually might be the next time. There's a little hint of it there that both harvesters were throwing into the trailer. Gets going properly doing that in a moment. And thanks Autodrive and Courseplay. But again, it sorts itself out. This is not me intervening, it does it all. I was actually away from the screen when that happened. I turned away to do something else, and it sorted itself out. And yeah, we're just going through the routine now, filling up the trailers, tipping into the bunker. I'm doing some managing of the bunker, and we can see that the second harvester is waiting. And again, you've got a little hint there that it shoots into, both harvesters can shoot into the trailer. I thought I'd put this earlier into the video, but obviously not. I'm hoping now that I included the footage in the edit. Here we go, this is it. So 2 harvesters firing into 1 trailer. Because of the way that Autodrive is sitting to the side of one, it puts it behind the other. Doesn't happen all the time. You can see here it quickly stops. Again, we get it happening. I'm wondering if there's a way that I can run 3 forage harvesters with 1 trailer. If I got a really big trailer on the back of a lorry or a semi, whether I could have 3 forage harvesters filling that trailer over and over again. And I want to have a try at it at some point. If you think that would be cool to try and see, let me know, and I might try and sort out a video. And yeah, you can see it's working really well here. It's all dependent in this situation on the carting tractor getting stuck behind one of the others. But it fills the trailer so quickly. But yeah, I just thought that was so cool. And that's what happened when I just left it to sort itself out on the up-down rows, rather than worrying about trying to coordinate them and pause them and things. It just sorted itself out. And even here, so when they cross, they stop because of collision detection, but they're not colliding, and again they just work themselves out. And coming up to the last rope for the first forage harvester, Yukon Valley has a big mountain, and we're getting some nasty shadows as well because it's September, so apologies for that. I should have changed the visual month so that we've got better lighting, but this worked really well. So it's taken about 2.5 hours to harvest that huge field with very little intervention from me. Most of it worked on its own just fine. I spent most of the time managing the pit and recording bits of footage for you to see, and yeah, we got something like 1.25 million litres of silage out of that. So if you found this interesting, I've hammered subscribing enough. Hit the like button, leave me a comment below, and yeah, I'll catch you next time on FS22. In fact, we're still tipping, so I was a little bit premature. Yeah, 1.25 million litres of silage. Awesome.